How's it going, YouTube world? This is Norfolk Southern Storm, and today we are going to be reviewing another classical roller coaster at Cedar Point. Probably the one that started everything. The one that started it all, and the rest was pretty much history. Today we are going to be reviewing Magnum XL-200. Magnum debuted on May 6, 1989. It is an aerodynamics hypercoaster. Now, what's a hypercoaster, you may ask? Well, I'll explain in the first feature, and that is the length, height, and drop. The length of Magnum is about 5,106 feet of track, and it stands at 205 feet tall. That is a hypercoaster. Anything that's over 200 feet tall is a hypercoaster. With a drop of 194 feet. Next feature is the speed, angle, and duration. It goes about 72 miles per hour, so it's very fast. You got that drop of 60 degrees of angle, so that 194 foot drop with a 60 degree angle. And you're looking at about a 2-minute ride. Next feature would be the elements. It's got that very slow chain lift hill, along with 3 tunnels. And then of course you got all those turns, helixes, and I don't know. And then of course your airtime hills. And speaking of which, next feature is airtime. And all I gotta say is yes, there is definitely airtime on this thing, especially near the end, with several bunny hills back to back, and you're basically going to be out of your seat. So yes, there are some ejector airtime hills on this Magnum XL-200. And yep, you're going to be out of your seat for half of the ride. Next features the theme. Honestly, there's really no theme to it at all. There's very little to none theming at all. Next feature is the smoothness. And all I gotta say is it is very bumpy and rough at times, but not gonna lie, there has been some experiences when I've had lesser rough rides. I guess it just depends on the day. There'll be times when Magnum is not too bad, and then there'll be times where it'll beat you to death. So well, not really, but you know, it can be bumpy and rough at times. Let's put it that way. So it's one of those, depending on how you ride it, where you ride it, when you ride it kind of thing. The next feature is the layout. And all I gotta say is that it has an amazing view from Cedar Point Shore, for sure. Like, It literally just it cuts across the water park, Cedar Point Shores. It cuts across it. You go up that lift hill, you're pretty much staring down at all those pools and slides and rivers and all that. And then you're looking at the lake, and it's just nice to look at. Like last year, I caught a photo with the sunset behind Magnum. Basically just basically making the coaster become in a shadow, and it was just gorgeous. It was just good. It's just got good shots. It's got its moments, that's for sure. It's got that classical look, and the lights at night just gives it an even better classical look. Kind of like your boardwalk style roller coaster in a way. With that said, moving on to the fun facts. Magnum was the first roller coaster to hit 200 feet tall, making it the first ever hypercoaster. It has also celebrated its 30th anniversary in 2019, last year. So they added a light show in the last tunnel. So there's that. Next feature is what I recommend. It's kind of a bubble. I mean, if you have if you have back or neck issues, especially, I definitely would not recommend riding this, for it is very bumpy and it can cause an injury if you're not careful. Other than that, it's an okay coaster. If you're, if you're up for it, go for it. I mean, it's an okay coaster. I do enjoy it. I mean, I'm just, I'm just letting you know that if you do have a history of injuring yourself pretty easily, do not recommend riding this. But other than that, it's okay. With that said, my final thoughts and rating on Magnum. So here's the thing. I have not ridden this at all last year, mainly because it was either closed or the line was too long, and for this ride, it is just not worth waiting a long time for. I mean, I would rather wait a long time for Maverick than this one. I mean, let's put it this way. I do not hate this ride. I don't hate it. It's just an okay one. It's very bumpy. The lift hill is also very slow. And that's why I sometimes call it the Killer Magnum, because it hurts sometimes. It does hurt sometimes. I will admit, it is not the worst coaster I've ever ridden, but it does sit on the bottom of my list. I'm sorry, but that's just my opinion on it. That's my experience. It's not always bad. Some experiences are better than others, I will admit, and are not always so bumpy. However, you do get a nice view of the lake and Cedar Point Shores. And on the plus side, it does give awesome night rides. So if you ever get a chance to go to Cedar Point and you want to ride this, definitely try to go for a night ride. It's nice. I will tell you that. It's nice. With that said, I'm going to rate Magnum a 4. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion on Magnum. I mean, each ride experience on this is different. I know some people are probably gonna attack me and be all like, "Oh, why'd you rate Magnum a 4? Why did it? I like it. I never had a problem." Well, that's all on you. I mean, you probably had better experiences than I have, but from my experiences, it's not always great. I've had bumpy rides on this thing. And there are times where it is not so bad. Don't get me wrong. I like it. I like Magnum. It's just not on my favorite list. I'm sorry, but that's just me. It's not on my best list, but it's also not on my worst list. I will go ahead and point that out. I mean, okay, it is somewhat on the bottom of the list, but it's not like the bottom. I've ridden worse coasters than this, okay? And I'm not even gonna go there. So, with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this brief video and my brief review on Magnum. What are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts and opinions on Magnum XL-200? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Is it in the middle? Please leave a comment below. Like it up. Don't forget to subscribe. With that said, this is Norfolk Southern Storm signing out. You all have a good night.